Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Appreciate you joining on the call. We know you have a busy day, things you got going on. We appreciate you taking time out. We try to make it quick, tell you things that are relevant to do the entire company, and give you things that you need to know on a regular basis. I'm going to go through these slides. I've got Chris Searles in the office with me, Senior Field FOM. He's going to talk to us about the accident injury report and the email that you sent prior to that. We're going to go through these. I'm going to give everybody in Super Mill and Butler Road a chance to weigh in if something's popped in their mind of what they've heard. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask questions. So let's get going. Always mention corporate care from the beginning. If you're experiencing difficulty or someone on your team, I want you to write two people, Angela Henson and myself. Angela is the director of HR. I am in project delivery. That's my primary task. But prior to being at UPA, I was a minister for 20 years. I'm accustomed to walking through different things that people go through in their life and keeping that to myself, but for Angela. So you need to know that Angela and I go back and forth with each other. We're confidential with your information. And if you have any questions that you'd like to talk through, things outside of work, or someone on your team does, we want to make sure that you let us know. There are times we get personal numbers of girlfriends, wives, someone connected in the family to try to reach out to them. There's times they don't write us back, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to do everything we can to reach out and say we support that person. So make sure that you utilize that when you can. Communication projects that use electric safety gloves. If you do not use electric safety gloves, you don't have to worry about it if you have not gotten this email. But I've sent this out. We've covered it, I believe, on 2 calls. We've also had a specific call for it. I want to make sure you're looking out for that on Friday, May 13th at 2:24 is the forms and order and return and a description and a hyperlink to a video on exactly what to do, explained by Jennifer. So communication for projects that use electric safety gloves, make sure you note that and review that. We are going through testing features in Fleet.io. Anthony's testing a bunch of different things that we might implement. So if you see it doing some strange things in your vehicles, if you see texts reporting back to you that they've seen some strange things with it, you can double check with Anthony, write him and say, is this something you're testing? More than likely it is. One of the primary things that he's working on to test is leaving drivers assigned to the vehicle. Y'all are accustomed to the fact that it's dropping them off about 40 minutes after the vehicle gets cut off. There's obviously upside that Fleet.io, the developer, saw in that. And we are still hitting that fob every time we get in the vehicle. But Anthony's looking to keep that assignment there for some of the corporate operations searches that we do for those vehicles. So 2 things there. One is we're looking to implement, but not quite there yet. 2, if you see it doing something strange, Anthony might be testing it and you can check with him. Something recent, Fleet.io inspections. A very common complaint about Fleet.io inspections from the field is I've gone through the entire inspection and it will not take. That is a real thing in some cases. In other cases, they've made some sort of mistake going through the app or just stopped and told you that it did not work. But when they are completing it and it is not working, Marie gave a series of steps that are on the screen here that she says work more than 99% of the time. And this updating the Fleet.io app is critically important. Depending on your device, depending on your carrier, sometimes it's things like that are updated automatically. You never think about it again. But lots of times you'll see an indicator that you need to update an app, and that is critical for Fleet.io. So as you're getting to the end of the month, prior to the window of the first 3 business days where we are doing an inspection, you might say to your team, go and check out the Fleet.io app, or maybe 5 minutes before they're going to complete an inspection because it makes something happen over the weekend. Go to the Play Store, App Store, update the Fleet.io app, wait 5 minutes, shut down the phone, wait 5 minutes, power up the phone, and attempt the inspection. She said 99% of the time that will solve the issue. She understands it is a hassle, and we tell you we want you out there doing that job. We don't want you standing around, waiting around. In this instance, this is time that is worth it to us to get vital information about those vehicles, to track care of those vehicles for resale, any kind of thing that pops up in an inspection so that we are not surprised when that vehicle is coming back in. The campaign poster for June was bloodborne pathogens, and Jeff Hooper, our director of safety, said it's critically important to get signatures for those bloodborne pathogens. We want to make sure that you note that on Sunday, January 4th at 7:02 p.m. You can reference that in your email for a supervisor. And I tell you what, if you are hearing me say this and you think I'm not getting that email, one, go check, make sure. But two, if you're not, write me or write me for anyone on your staff and say this list needs to be updated. We're constantly updating that list for people that join us, people that are elevated to new positions, people that depart the company for various reasons. And we're absolutely going to miss a person on a supervisor FOM foreman email. So make sure that you let us know. We'll update that list. We'll do our best as possible to keep that up. So signatures for bloodborne pathogens is important in the next little stretch. Smoking in the vehicle, something I said last month because it was an emphasis. Let's make it an emphasis every single month. We're out of that vehicle. We are not smoking in that vehicle. We're not dipping in that vehicle. It is not a personal vehicle. It is something that the company's invested a great deal of money in. And we want to make sure that not only is it functional for another tech that likely has to opt into it, someone on your team, but when they sell it, that we have that value. That is the last slide I'm going to show you. Let me pause for just a second to ask Chris. Chris said include no vaping. Absolutely. Just any of that stuff, just step out of the car, make sure you're not in it. That you're taking a break in order to do that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen on this PowerPoint, and I'm going to share the UPA accident and incident. Okay. Somebody give me a thumbs up. You see the accident incident property damage report. Let's see here. Okay. So Chris is going to walk us through this. You're going to get this hyperlink, and it is a catch-all for a number of different things that can happen in the field to make sure. So Chris, if you'll walk us through.
Okay, good morning and afternoon, everyone. This is going to replace a lot of the sites that you have now. I'm sorry, all of the apps. This is going to replace all the accident, injury, and bodily and property damage reports that you currently have.
Hyperlinks.
I'm sorry, hyperlinks.
Yeah.
The first one is going to be for the damage of the vehicle. This is for the UPA vehicle only. This is not going to include a different vehicle. This one is going to just be for a fence post, a yellow marker that is outside of a convenience store, etc. One of the things that I want to make sure that we point out is as you scroll down through these, bear with me, using Joe's mouse. As you scroll down through these, it's going to ask for some other things such as a same-day drug screen. When it does, it's going to ask for the facility. You'll have to complete all of that. Again, if there's any injuries, it's going to ask if there was an ambulance. It's also going to ask for whatever vehicle is towed, where it went, and how it got there. Again, as you do these, just make sure that you click on and off the correct things. When it comes to passengers, and we'll get to this one in just a second.
Go back up.
Yes, here, I'm going to let you use that. Okay. As you unclick and you re-click, if you look at the right-hand side where your marker is to draw it up and down, you'll be able to see that as you change these reports, that will change. So as you see, that one would be less. Going back to the collision, this is going to involve, again, other vehicles, such as if you're in a parking lot and somebody turns into you, or as you're driving out, they back into you, etc. Again, as you use these, you're going to have to fill out certain information. If you have a citation, they're going to ask for a photo. Obviously, it's going to ask for the driver's information, and so on and so forth. Again, if airbags were deployed, hopefully that never happens. This is one of the ones I want to make sure we point out. As the driver, you're going to complete that information, or your manager will. But if there is a passenger, you have to make sure that you click over to the passenger. Again, same with the other information. The driver, it's going to have to be fully completed. And then you'll have to click over to the passenger if there's any passengers. Again, insurance information. If there's more than one vehicle involved, it's going to click on it and you're going to have to fill it out again for the next vehicle.
And that information expands as you click on it, or retracts as you remove it.
Again, as we scroll down, it's going to ask, obviously, for the conditions. A lot of this is going to be the same as the other form that we use. But the nice part is it will consolidate everything. And again, as you're going to hit submit, it's going to tell you if you need more information or if it's good. The first three are all involving vehicle incidents or accidents. They involve a vehicle. Again, this is one that will have injuries. God forbid that would happen, and hopefully that never happens. But it's going to ask you all the same prudent information. Again, once you get down further, it's going to ask you about injury information of who it was and where they're going. Again, it will ask you for each person. Airbags, hopefully the airbags never deploy. We should never have that problem. Again, you need to switch from driver to passenger and complete all the information. Again, insurance especially.
Chris, what if somebody says they're leaving from the side of the accident? I'm leaving. I'm tired of this.
Then we need to get their prudent information. What you want to make sure is you get is their driver's license, their registration, a plate, get photos of that stuff. If it's a minor incident, a lot of people are not going to want to sit and wait for us to fill out these long reports, because as you know, some of these are pretty long. But as long as you have pictures of their driver's license, their insurance, their registration card, a picture of their plate, and the vehicle damage, if there is any, we can go ahead and let them go. Again,
what if they
law
don't want to show
enforcement
you
will
your
also
driver's
be on the
license?
scene. What's that?
What if they don't want to show you their license because it has their information on it? Because sometimes people only want to hand that to the officer, not you. If they don't
And
wait,
that's fine. You can have the police fill out a report. I had an incident the other day where when I contacted the police, it's not that they refused to come out, but it was such a minor incident. They just said to go ahead and exchange information. In a different situation, have the police fill out a report. They'll get all the information. Again, we'll go back and we'll have a police report. Everything will drop in, and then we have all the investigating officer badge number, the report numbers, if there were any citations issued, and who they were issued to.
Okay.
And there's one more, correct?
Correct.
Okay, employee injury.
And this is obviously, hopefully we never fill this out. But this is going to be all the information. If it's a vehicle incident, where the incident was, if the vehicle was towed, anything that had happened that day. Again, the drug screen is the same thing. It's going to ask for all of the site information of where we're bringing this person and what we did. And then we're going to have the employee information. all the information of what happened, where it happened, and how it happened.
And anything else you want to say about this?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to show, I'm going to pull up the email for the notice that we are going to write, the initial notification. Initial event. All right, can everyone see my screen? Give me a thumbs up. Yep, I see it. All right, what are we going to write in the two?
Initial event report.
So if you type initial, you will see initial event report populate. You put in the subject line.
Initial notification. And again, this is the who, what, where, when, and how of whatever the incident is.
And Chris, you check me. I feel like I've heard team leadership say a number of times, this has to come out immediately.
First.
You got to get this out.
Absolutely.
But-
When a report is given to you, this should be the first thing that comes out. And it goes to all upper management, so that way there's no surprises.
But the filling out of the form that we just displayed does not need to be done immediately. There's times where that sometimes has to, you got to chase information.
Correct. It's okay to get the information and get it right in the report. What this is the initial notification to make sure that if somebody has an incident, we're aware of it.
Yeah.
And again, we always want to make sure that we indicate if there is not an injury.
Okay. If or if not. Okay. So who, what, when, where, how to initial event report. That auto populates, that list changes, but it doesn't matter to you. You're just writing to initial event report and you're done with an initial notification subject, who, what, when, where, how, and injury, yes or no. Then you're going to that hyperlink that takes you to that form that replaces a number of different hyperlinks that were a number of different forms, all consolidated into one to make life easier on you and get that information out. Anything else on that, Chris?
That's it.
Okay, any questions from the field on what we've shared?
With that initial notification, are we still putting non-emergency or anything on that header line too, or not?
You can. Again, the idea is to have the initial notification. If it's a non-emergency, when we read the information, we will know it's a non-emergency, or if it is an emergency.
It certainly doesn't hurt.
Right.
Other questions?
So Joe, this is Devin. I raised my hand, but I guess I'll go ahead. So when it comes to a drug screening, is the drug screening only needed when our technician is at fault, or is it needed if there's an accident?
Can I answer that, Joe?
Of course.
Yes.
So thanks, Davin, for the question. Drug screenings are based on the accident themselves. Once I read the description of what happened, I make the determination whether a drug screening is required. So there is no concrete, every time this occurs, you need one. Every time this occurs, you have to. It's based on the accident and what I read from it. So it's a HR decision at that time. So we'll make that determination at the time of the accident.
Understandable. And with Miss Angela answering that question, when we're sending the initial report, do we need to add Miss Angela to that list of names? And Joe, I think it would be.
I believe they've already added me to that group. I'm pretty sure I'm getting them now. I wasn't getting them before, Davin. You're right. Thank you for bringing that up. But I think they tested that recently, like as in this last week only, when they were playing around with it. I think I'm getting them now.
Chris said you
Understandable.
should be getting it now.
Yeah, I am getting them now. It just started, Davin. You were correct before. You weren't copying me. Everybody wasn't, but everybody thought I was on there, but I am on there now.
Understandable. So Joe, can you do us all a favor? And I think we need to send out a new list of whose names are added to the initial report, whether it's for accidents or customer claims. I think we need to update that because I just feel like we gotten to a point where so many changes and so many names. I think that needs to be updated and sent right across the board.
Hey, Joe,
Yeah.
this is Michael. We can send them that Word document that's on that supervisor SharePoint that we went over last week. That contains all of the
Sure.
updated info that they're going to need.
Sure. If you get that to me, I'll send it out to the group. And short answer, Davin, on the incident is Aaron, Angela, Cassandra, Chris Searles, Chris Vaso, Daryl Grindstaff, Jack Karamanuki, and Jeff Hooper, Keith Wilder, Ray Sewell, Todd Stone, Victoria Slim. So it's pretty exhaustive list of who needs to hear that. When you simply write initial, what is it? Initial
Event.
initial event. Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate
Other,
it, Joe.
yes, sir. Other questions related to that?
Hey, Joe, when that class was given at the supervisor training by Ray, he said the only thing that you need to do is CC your FOM or senior FOM, or CC your FOM and any other supervisor you want aware of the incident, but everything else is as you said, self-contained in that overall email address.
Thank you. It's cool what Chris mentioned. Chris had supervisors from all over the country in town this past week for additional training. He'll be reaching out to you in the near future as if you are a supervisor, bringing you in. We're going to expand that leadership group that comes. For right now, he is targeting supervisors, and they'll be coming back with further information to help the team. Any other questions from the field on what we've shared? Okay. Chris, anything in addition to what we've discussed?
No, sir.
Okay. Operations office, anyone in the operations office, something that we have not discussed that you think is important to share right now?
Yeah, I just want to throw out one last comment, Vaso here. So, 11 supervisors went through training. So 11 supervisors, anything you were given, anything we discussed is not, it's not secret, top secret. So when you're back at your location, share the information, share what you learned, share what Todd's vision is. You heard it straight from his mouth, right? Share all that. And then bottom line is get to the field and do the job that you're doing and start showing, what came out of that training and how it is that we need to enact it and, just start executing. That's the best advice I can give. I'm up in Chesterfield and I've already given that advice as well. So, just put it to use.
And I
I'm
think it's
done.
fair to say, FOMs, you may hear new information from those supervisors that's different than the instruction you've received in the past. And then you had instruction in the past before that, and then before that. Go with what you're hearing from them right now. And if you have any questions, you can certainly write to confirm it. But they are bringing the latest information back with them. Anyone else in the operations office? Okay. Anyone at Butler Road, questions, thoughts that I have not shared today?
Nothing from me.
Okay. And you hear from Michael. Michael's got all of his data managers on this call. They're taking a minute to be with us to understand points that we're sharing with you so that they understand it, do their job better. We appreciate the work that both the field and data does to communicate with each other. Everything you can do to make the other jobs easier makes us better, makes it easier to go home at the end of the day. So thank you, Michael, and your team for being on the call as well. Anyone in senior leadership that I haven't called on? Okay. We thank you for your time. I record these. I post them on YouTube so that they don't expire. share that YouTube link with you. But it's important that if your field leaders on your project are not able to be here for this call, that you give them that link. Just tell them to take 20 minutes and please watch it because it's important information that they need. Thank you so much for everyone that's on the call. Thanks, Chris, for walking us through that form. If you have any questions, please be sure and write us, and have a good week. Appreciate what you do out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.